right on. Everybody out there, thanks for tuning in. I'm Kyle. I am chilling right now with Jules, Clayton, and Brian of Higher Organix. We're here at the church tonight. These dudes are about to rip it up. Thanks to Elevated Arts and Entertainment putting on the event tonight. Big shout to them. These guys, now correct me if I'm wrong, formed about 2007.
That's correct.
Great Barrington, New York.
Great Barrington, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Almost
fuck.
here. Last thing before New York.
Holler out. Great Barrington, Mass.
Yes.
So, can you guys talk a little bit, just briefly, about your musical style and theory?
Style-wise, I would say it's psychedelic dance fusion would be kind of the broad term that I use, but it could reference anything from house music to dub reggae to psychedelic rock to ambient drum and bass. It's all in there, it's whatever we're feeling. A lot of our influences just kind of come out through that. So dancing is definitely the focus.
Right on.
For sure.
Cool. Down the line, how do you, Clayton and Brian, how would you guys describe the use of Ableton? I know Clayton used some Ableton. Brian, I'm not sure
Jules
if you do it all.
Not yet.
Jules uses some Ableton, and you guys like to use a lot of samples. Can you talk about that? How that affects the musical style?
I mean, I see them as two separate things, but I also feel like part of our influences as well rely heavily on electronica and working on production and learning all those different tools through the computers and learning how we might be able to jam with them like we jam with ourselves musically. Is where we want to take it. We haven't quite integrated it into our live setup because it really started as the idea of like fully improvising a live set of just like pure psychedelia, power trio, rock almost, but having the influences of the electronica behind it and playing our instruments almost like DJs would spin records. It's like we don't necessarily have song names, but we have familiar zones where we can kind of communicate to ourselves through the music and know where we're bringing it and still be able to.
It's like a DJ set in the way that it usually doesn't stop. We'll go for the full set time, just play straight through, and that way you really get these dynamic, kind of journeys is one word that could be used, but a dynamic path. Yeah, an epic
We've held
journey,
off
but
a bit on fully bringing the computers into the mix just yet because we've been not only waiting for the technology to get there with us and be able to like sync to us playing tempo-wise or pitch-wise, but also have it where we can fully improvise with that just like we do with the instruments and not let it stagnate to like a certain premeditated groove.
Right on, keep it fresh. Cool. Well, you guys are now on this nice mini tour, as it were, Mass in New York, holding it down. Now, Brian, you're the youngest in the bunch, right?
Yeah.
So this is a crazy thing to be doing.
Yeah.
Like so young. Can you talk about a little bit about how like the experience has been for you, the reaction from the fans, like what it's been like?
Yeah, I mean it's really fun. I mean, it started in high school, coming out of that. So yeah, it was cool to go to clubs and shit and play. And then go back to high school in the morning. So it's fun, and so now it's just a whole lot better. So it's cool. So it's good.
Yeah, and the fan reaction's been overwhelming for you guys.
Yeah, it's good.
People like it. I think people really do respond to the fact, one, that it's improvised and it's going to be fresh and relevant to where they're at and when it is. And the sound, right now we have a lot. It's a world of extremes. There's a lot of regular band real instrument made music, and there's a lot of electronica, and there's definitely a crossover. But I like where we fall in the mix of some of the theoretical ends of it all and sound wise, but it's rooted in a traditional band format, which I think a lot of people dig and are more responsive to in a live setting. You know what I mean? Like the sounds that someone who's using a computer, using a bunch of MIDI controllers makes is one thing, and it's good that people can listen on that level and really hear it. But when you see a live band play, there's always something kind of to watch and something to latch onto and watch move more than you can sometimes with just an electronica act.
For sure.
But
yeah, these guys put on a killer live show. It's all about the experience for these guys. Definitely have to make sure you see the live performance. Now, the big up, we gotta talk about it. It is possibly got the most hype and the best vibes of all the festies last summer. People were just raving about it. They couldn't get enough. Our good friends Ranch at Lost and Sound threw out a really great article about the whole experience, featuring you guys and how integral a part of that you were with the whole Shireworks family. Can you talk about the experience of Big Up last year at all?
I think it's a unique opportunity that we've had as a band to be able to kind of grow alongside the production company that we've had, you know, a certain
Yeah, it
part
started
to help
in the same
create.
time with our band did. you
Being
know?
able to be on the venue and work with the venue owner almost year round and really make sure that it is exactly how we'd like it, and that boutique sort of experience that you really want to see when there's a small gathering almost on that level. And I'm glad to be able to host it as a band and work towards it, to be able to really sort of tie it all together when it comes to the 3 days.
Worked out
That's
well.
so great.
Yeah.
That's so great. Yeah, that worked out so well, and the Big Up came about it. That's why these guys are so great. They make it happen. I'm hanging out with Brian, Clayton, Jules, Higher Organix. I am Kyle, signing off for the Brain Trust. Thanks, everybody. Peace.
Ow.